Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tulohoyani. You'll recall that letter that I brought to you where Teffo had met Longwe Twala in prison, in the Johannesburg prison. That was about 3 months ago. That letter was personally sent to me by Malisela Teffo for my attention. And in that letter, you'll recall, Longwe had disclosed a lot of explosive things. Let me just get back to the letter again. In that letter, Longwe confesses, for the first time, to Teffo, in the form of what looks like an affidavit. In it, Longwe, among some of the explosive things that he says that Senzo was shot by Kelly Kumar while Kelly Kumar was playing with a firearm that he had brought to the Kumalo house. Longwe in that letter says, I brought that gun there, admits everything, admits the shooting of that firearm by himself, admits how he was, prevailed upon by Senzo and taken outside the house by Senzo until Senzo took that gun away from him and ended up giving the gun to Kelly Kumalo. And Kelly Kumalo, while she was playing with the gun somehow fired, and one of those bullets ended up taking the life of Senzo Meyiwa. That is what Longwe says there. Just in line with the version that we have been saying is the true version, the version of 375, that there have been no intruders into that house. Longwe mentions a lot of explosive things in that letter also, because he says immediately when they left the hospital, you'll recall, there was a meeting at the Kumalo house, and in that meeting, it was decided that all the people who were in the house were not supposed to talk to the Ras police in any way. If they're approached by the Ras police, they must just simply indicate that no, they are too traumatized to talk. In other words, they should virtually not say anything to them regarding what had happened in that house. Another explosive disclosure in that letter is to the effect that a meeting was then held at the Kumalo house. During this very meeting that I'm talking about, where they were, schooled along the lines of 636. In that letter that I got from Teffo, where Longwe makes those disclosures, it is said that General Sibia was, in charge of that meeting, or convened that meeting. This is not my own information, but this is information that has been conveyed to me through that letter, which is some kind of confession on the part of Longwe Twala. Now I have some kind of corroboration for whatever it is worth of somebody. I got a call from a gentleman who calls himself Thabo Mapiri, who says he's very close to Longwe. He has known Longwe for a long time. Among other things, he says, well, we have even taken drugs with Longwe, and at that time, apparently Mapiri was in the Johannesburg prison, and Longwe told him about, his meeting with Teffo and him, disclosing all that is contained in that letter because his conscience was really troubling him. So there is some kind of corroboration. I had no reason not to believe what Malisela Teffo was saying as far as that letter is concerned, because I just could not imagine a situation where Teffo could publicly release, a document or a letter or an affidavit which is supposed to have been made by Longwe to him, which is fictitious. So initially I believed it, but now with this other corroboration, with this other friend or acquaintance of Longwe, I think that meeting did actually take place, so that the retractions or the turning away from that letter by Longwe in recent times. You have seen how Longwe recently issued a statement to the effect that Teffo is lying, and he never made any such admissions to him. He is just taking advantage of his situation because he admits that he's a drug addict and possibly Teffo. He's taking advantage of that and has fabricated the whole thing. No, now I have my own corroboration. I have my own corroboration from this gentleman. And it would appear that such an encounter actually did take place, but the problem now is possibly when Chico Twala got wind of this meeting between Longwe, his son, and Teffo. He was not very happy about it, so that he ultimately ended up putting Longwe in some kind of, uncomfortable space to say, you retract that letter, because that letter is quite explosive. It rubbishes completely the version of 636 and simply says, it was the people in the house who has something to do with the killing of Senzo Meyiwa, or who at least have to know, even if they are not, nobody's saying they are all involved, but those who are not directly involved should know something about the killing of Senzo Meyiwa simply because they were there. So what I'm trying to bring you this morning is, I now have my own corroboration. This Mapiri character who sort of corroborates what Teffo has given me. And like I said earlier on, I really had no reason to doubt what Teffo was all about. So there you have it. We don't know how this is panning out, because apparently this letter, which Teffo recorded from Longwe, has caused a lot of confusion. It has caused a lot of animosity between, on the one hand, Chico and Teffo. But I still have to hear Teffo retract that he met Longwe in jail, and that is the disclosure that was made to Longwe to him. So in the absence of any retraction on the part of Teffo, and strengthened by this corroboration by this particular gentleman, whose name I've just given you, I don't think I have any doubt that such an encounter did take place. It is just that perhaps Longwe is now under pressure from his father and other people, to retract this, because it really puts the version that there were intruders into that house into trouble, and coming from somebody who actually brought that firearm to that house is quite explosive, because this will mean it will drag his own father into this whole mess, because you remember the gun belonged to his father and it was an unlicensed firearm. Longwe himself had no business being in possession of that firearm. So that disclosure opens up a whole Pandora's box of issues around what happened on that fateful day in that house. So there you have it. Sometimes, we get to report these things from sources, and sometimes, you have to get some kind of corroboration, right? You have to get some kind of corroboration to say, I got this from Teffo, much as I had no reason to doubt what Teffo was saying to me. But this sort of strengthens the whole thing if I get corroboration from somebody else. So there you have it. That meeting between Longwe and Teffo did in fact take place, according to this acquaintance or witness to the whole thing. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video and all the other videos that you have watched in the past. And please kindly subscribe. For this initiative, it's only through your support that this initiative can get where it is supposed to be. Thank you very much and have a nice day.